Hey, guys. Good afternoon, and welcome to the Wednesday, July 9, 2025 regular meeting of the Board of Education. I will first ask that our meeting was posted, and I've been assured it was. If we would now all please stand for the national anthem. And today we have a real treat. Our national anthem will be played by Dr. Barnes.
Free bird.
Are we moving down?
Let's move down.
When did we cook up this thing?
Please join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Encore!
He's getting a supplement for that. Yeah, let's play Larry. You get a drum solo. That's all you get. Drum solo. No, supplement.
I guess
You get to go home early, right?
Yeah. I'd like to, I'll entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
I move to approve the agenda as printed.
You? Moved and seconded. All in favor? All right. Thank you. Announcements. We have a few. As soon as I find them. Aha. All right. First, we have a ribbon cutting ceremony at Henderson Early Learning Center on Wednesday, July 30th from 10:30 to 11:30 at Henderson Formie. We'll have a ribbon cutting. We've got a lot of ribbon cuttings coming on. I'm loving this. Ribbon cutting ceremony at Bloomingdale Elementary School. Friday, August 1st. That is at 101 East Main Street in Bloomingdale. First day of school. I know the kids are ready. First day of school, since we're the parents. First day of school is August 4th. Ribbon cutting ceremony for Davis Edwards Harris Athletic Facility and Police Annex on Thursday, August 7th at 10:30. Ribbon cutting ceremony for Windsor Forest High School, Friday, August 8th at 10:30. It's 3:30? Okay, it was printed wrong. I'm sorry? 3:30. Sorry about that. And of course, our August regular board meeting is Wednesday, August 13th? Yes. Okay. All right. And I guess I'm to announce that we had that we have completed the evaluation for our superintendent, and it was more than satisfactory. So we're very happy. All right. Next. Remembrances. But we have a few, and I'm sad to report this. Okay. Dolores Cummings, Johnson High School, date of passing 7/3/25. Barbara Magwood, White Bluff Elementary, date of passing 6/26. Karen Burrows, Groves High School, 5/22/25. And Tabitha Futch, date of passing 6/2/25. If we'll all please stand for a moment of silence. And now for some good news.
It is with always great excitement that I get to bring some calls for applause to the district, and I'll start off by acknowledging Virginia Vogelman, a junior from Windsor Forest High School who received the Cousin ITT Flight Training Award through Thrill of the First Flight, Georgia, and Savannah Aviation last month. This award is named for Matt Mashburn, a U.S. military veteran and an aviation professional who passed away in 2022. Mashburn created the program to give youth in our area the opportunity to experience flying. Congratulations, Virginia. Last month, community members gathered at the Savannah District U.S. Army Corps of Engineers Depot on Hutchinson Island to witness the dedication of 3 new survey vessels. The vessels were named and dedicated in honor of 3 service members who were born and raised in Georgia and lost their lives in the line of duty. One of the vessels was named after Army Sergeant Tyrone Chisholm of Savannah, a graduate of Groves High School, where he played varsity basketball. The 3 survey vessels will serve as a lasting tribute to the sacrifice and service of each of these men whose names they bear. Each year, the Georgia Department of Education English Learner Language Programs recognizes one exemplary student from each school district or independent charter school in Georgia. To qualify for this award, the student must be a senior and on track for graduation in the school year, have a minimum of a 3.5 grade point average, and demonstrate leadership through participation in extracurricular activities, sports, clubs, employment, or community service, and must also exhibit exemplary character, outstanding behavior, and regular attendance. New Hampstead High School Class of 2025 graduate Daniela Alejandra Medina Gonzalez was selected as the district's honoree and was recognized at the school's end-of-year awards ceremony last month. Congratulations, Daniela. We are proud of you. Congratulations to the Savannah Arts Academy Student Garden Club and the Ardsley Park Chatham Crescent Garden Club. They won a Certificate of Merit in the High School Garden Club category from the National Garden Clubs Incorporated for the work done in the Secret Garden at the Savannah Arts Academy. The project provided landscaping for 2 garden beds at the entrance to the Secret Garden and created an artist walk with a design feature. Special thanks to Green Dirt Design and landscape architect Tim Gay, who volunteered his time to assist us with the landscape design and provided plants at wholesale pricing. Finally, let's all give the Savannah High School Marching Band a round of applause. The Marching Blue Jackets were invited to Washington, D.C. to participate in the 4th of July Independence Day Parade. This is an extraordinary honor and a testament to the talent, discipline, and dedication of our student musicians. Additionally, this honor reflects the amazing leadership of band director, Mr. Reginald Mitchell, and the support of the entire community. Being on such a prominent national stage is an achievement that not only demonstrates musical excellence, but the spirit of pride and unity at Savannah High School and across this district. This is the first for the Savannah High School Band and a proud moment for our district's fine arts department and Savannah-Chatham County Public School System as a whole. Congratulations, and that concludes my good news report for this month.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Board President. As we move along in your board agenda, we do have the Board of Education matters. Today, item 6.01 for your review. We just have one policy matter for the board to review. This is a first read. We'll come back for a second read adoption during the August board meeting. You'll see board policy FGC bids and quotations. Comprehensive overhaul here. If you'll take a look at much of the revisions that we've provided, the real driver behind this is as we were looking closely at this policy code section to understand its true alignment as in its relation to Georgia Procurement Public Works Law. What that does is it triggered the need for us to provide much more clarity, which you see stipulated in the policy and further in the regulation, as it relates to the procurement of professional services for facilities projects. Now, this is a fairly comprehensive review of this policy area, and much of it was driven with great support of our finance team, our capital projects team, with leading revisions provided by the legal house. So I'm going to ask that Attorney Deacle now just provide you a very quick summary of a little deeper rationale for some of the changes. Attorney Deacle.
Thank you, Mr. Hediger. Board members. The overall approach is to maximize the flexibility of the school district in negotiating professional services contracts for facilities projects, regardless of whether they meet the definition of a public works construction contract under the Georgia Public Works Construction Law. That law has very specific requirements about how the solicitations for construction projects should be awarded. We didn't want to necessarily have those same limitations if they did not apply, but we wanted to make sure we had a framework and standards of our own for making selections for design professionals. So we have sort of a table, the main policy. We have a sort of a table that is designed to mirror DJE's approval level thresholds that talk about the types of purchasing methodology the board could consider for these types of solicitations, and simply clarify that the Georgia Public Works construction law does not apply. To the extent the prior policy had suggestions about how a particular solicitation might be done or terms of solicitation, those things could still be done if the purchasing department and staff want to do that, but we didn't want to be limited by the policy itself in the ways that we seek to procure these types of contracts, which can be based on cost, but can be based on other factors, such as the design professionals' special expertise, experience. There may be an example of projects that we have used a particular design before that we want to use again. It worked before, we want to use it again. Our staff is familiar with that layout or floor plan and wanted to just go straight back to the same source and design it again while still being fiscally responsible. The regulation that we have here tries to streamline what was originally a regulation with 3 exhibits of tables for maximum fee schedules. We emphasize these are maximum fees for design professional contracts, not the minimum. The board could certainly approve a higher amount, but staff is encouraged to try and bring in contracts at lower rates and fees than are listed in these schedules for your approval. And the existing framework on that schedule sort of is a variation on the tables that were in place here previously in 2013. As we're all aware, a lot has changed in the economy since 2013. So some of these amounts all of these amounts have been increased, with design to make the fee structures more attractive to the qualified talent that would be looking for designing school district facilities projects. One slight sort of technical difference was the previous schedules had specific job positions. We found not all design professional firms use the same classifications or codes, or they don't necessarily mean the same thing. A principal at one company might be a lead architect at another. And so to minimize some of the challenges of trying to figure out where somebody's employee position fits on our own scale, we've tried to provide some narrative guidance as to what level of experience or skills or seniority is the qualification, rather than relying strictly on somebody's title. I think that's sort of an overview of these changes. If there are any questions, I'm happy to entertain them.
Ms. Grabowski.
Thank you very much for the overview. We have a very robust capital projects. I think it's really important that we have a good understanding, both for us as a board and for the community, of the processes and procedures. And I appreciate the flexibility that we're looking to have at the district to be able to hire the best for our projects. The only question I had was the fee and rate tables. Those were previously an attachment to the regulation, and now they're being embedded in the regulation. Is there any difference?
Originally, there was 3 separate exhibits on top of it, and that just was more places you had to go on the board docs to pull it up and refresh it, and just let's go ahead and condense all of that information into one table in part of the regulation itself.
And the percentages and the rates that are reflected here, were those based on what we are seeing from the bids we've received? What was the basis for those numbers?
The specific numbers were recommended by capital project staff that have been administering this. For the hourly rates, I understand they kind of looked at the average market rate of the vendors that we have been working with to get a sense of what our local market average rate would be. The percentage scale for flat fees that's based in relation to the stated cost limitation those were just simply all adjusted up, I think, by about 0.25% to sort of generally as I understand it, the fee ranges for the larger types of projects that we're doing in the market tend to run from 6 to 8%. You'll see some of these fees being above 8%, but those are all on projects under $1 million when you do those percentages. Those additional amounts above 8% are relatively small and recognized for a project of that size. There's still a certain threshold amount of work that has to go into doing it. So that's why the proposed ceiling is a little higher in percentage terms on those projects under $1 million.
Okay. Well, and sorry, with what we've been looking at as far as with our own projects, do we look at comparable districts as well? I realize we have to be sensitive to our market, but in looking at the scale of projects that other large districts might have, does it look like our compensation, our design fees are comparable? I don't know if the capital projects team looked at that in their evaluation.
I'd have to defer to capital projects
Okay.
as to whether they looked at other school districts. I know my understanding was they were focused sort of on the market rates of the design professionals
Okay.
in our area.
Ms. Davidson, is that anything that you can respond to?
Good afternoon. Sorry. I'm not aware that we looked at other school districts. I believe we only focused on our regional area.
Thank you.
Ms. Hall?
Mr. Deacle, did our capital projects team seek the expertise of any actual design professionals in terms of decision-making with this?
My understanding is they reviewed the posted rates that were being charged by design professional firms currently as sort of their current market rates as compared to what our schedule was. I don't believe that anyone in particular was engaged per se as a consultant, but we have very talented construction professionals on our staff and some consultants that are not for our program management in Mr. Huttinga's group that have a wealth of experience and some familiarity of just what market rates are and what these prices are in the industry.
Okay, thank you.
Any further
Very
questions?
much, Mr. Deacle.
Thank you.
Okay, so that is a first read. We will come back with the board with a final second reader for adoption in August, and that concludes the board matters section of today's agenda, turning it to the board president for consent agenda and additional items.
Thank you very much. I will now accept a motion to approve the consent agenda. It's been moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Yes?
Sorry, I'm the chatty one today. We have two, the relay and the grow, that I know Dr. Hoskins Brown had asked for some information, and appreciate those numbers being provided back, which are both professional development and training. I'm just wondering if the team might be able to provide just a 60-second overview of what both of those programs are and how each will be used. Is that?
So good afternoon. The first one, School Meant Grow, that is actually a platform that we will use to capture all of our coaching, action steps, and how we're supporting teachers and leaders across the district as we continue to build a culture of continuous improvement. Historically, we have been capturing those data points in spreadsheets, and it doesn't, we need a centralized place where it lives and we can have oversight and monitoring of all the schools. And this is a place where, a platform where we can do that. And it also allows us to have transparency as we are giving feedback to teachers and leaders. It's a transparent way in which we can track that. The second contract around Relay, that is our comprehensive approach around building the instructional leadership capacity of our principals, assistant principals, and academic coaches, so that as we are coaching teachers, we are meeting teachers where they are and actually have a structured framework of being able to coach teachers. What we are striving to do is create this culture where we have universal language as we are coaching teachers. And when we say red is red, everybody understands what red is, and there's no misinterpretation of that. So really, that contract is a more comprehensive way of approaching coaching of all our schools, our assistant principals and principals.
Thank you. I think both of these are very wise investments in our staff and our talent, and it sounds like the data component will feed in very well with Ms. Taylor's ROI. So things like this, I think, are really important, and they get sometimes buried under the consent agenda. So I just wanted to take a moment to elevate those and provide our team the opportunity to be able to share the great work that they are doing and the strategic investments that we are making in the district among our talented staff. Thank you.
Absolutely. All right. Yes, Dr. Hoskins-Brown.
Just wanted to say thank you to the leadership and the team for responding to comments I made about items in the consent agenda related to the timelines for responding to attendance waivers for parents to make it a more parent-friendly timeline so that could be responded to before the end of the school year, and also for making revisions to the board superintendent communications policy. So I appreciate seeing those changes and their revisions. Thanks.
Anyone else? Okay. There being no more discussion, all in favor? Wonderful. Thank you very much. Mr. Jackson.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Afternoon.
I think we have item 8.01.
Yes, sir.
This is in response to M26059 NWEA MAP. All of the agenda items have been posted to board docs. Board members have had a chance to review the items, and a couple of these items you just received some information on them from staff. So I'm not going to read through all of the agenda items. Thus be it resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent that the board approve the 3-year district-wide purchase of NWEA MAP growth and professional learning services for fiscal year 26 through 28. The total contract expenditure will be $1,385,300.
Moved and seconded. A discussion? All right. There being no more discussion, all in favor? Yes. Sorry.
Okay, item 8.02. This is just a 1-year renewal for iReady. It includes a budget transfer using end-of-the-year funds from FY25 to create a budget in Special Programs Fund 584. Thus be it resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent that the board approve the sole source purchase of the iReady subscription and professional development for a total cost of $612,909, and be it further resolved that the board approve the budget transfer and amendment as described above.
I'll accept a motion to approve.
Just a motion for both the transfer and the allocation? Is that what you just
yes,
requested?
yes,
Okay.
yes.
Mr. Catchmore, is that what you're moving?
I was seconding
Okay,
to your firsting.
I'm moving. I'm firsting.
Okay.
May I
Now, yes.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate leadership being responsive to my request to explore sources of funding this action from our coffers from other areas. This originally came to us coming out of fund balance, and last month there were several board members were pretty articulate about their desire to leave fund balance alone. So I was not. I was not happy about going into fund balance so quickly after approving this year's budget. So I appreciate us spending the effort to looking into our unused funds and really, cleaning out the cupboards before we go grocery shopping again, like really making sure that we're utilizing all of our resources, particularly, and I'll mention this when we get to our financials, we're at 92% of the year. So we know what we've spent in some line items, and we know some line items are not fully expended. So I appreciate you doing that and hope that we'll continue to do that. So I support this action coming from general fund, unutilized funds for the previous fiscal year.
Anyone else? Okay. All in favor? Thank you very much.
Good afternoon, everyone. The financials that were in your packet this month covered us through May 31st, that being 92% of the fiscal year, as Ms. Hoskin Brown just said, and 100% of the school year has lapsed. Our Fund 100 revenues, the local property taxes, are currently at 99.7% of budget, which is higher than our 99% that we received this same time last year. Total general fund actual revenues are at 97% of the budget, which is higher than last year at 96%. Our general fund expenditures, actual expenditures for teachers are at 90.7% of the current budget. That's lower than the expected 92% at this point in time. Other support salaries are at 89%, which is lower than expected, between 90 and 92%. Total general fund actual expenditures are at 85% of the budget, compared to the same time last year, we were at 81.8%. Do we have any questions?
Constance Brown.
I do. Thank you so much for this report. I'm looking at page 1, General Fund, Fund 100, under item 42, Purchase Professional Tech Services, where we have 4.9 million remaining in the budget, and 46, Software Maintenance, where we have 1.6 million left in the budget. Are we reallocating those unused funds? Are they available for things like we just purchased with the iReady? Are we reallocating those?
Some of those are available for that type thing. Before we close out the end of the year, we're actually spending this month going through our total year, and we will go in and make any kind of adjustments that we need in addition to any expenses that were done during June, July time period that were for last year.
Thank you. That's helpful. So we're doing closeout.
Right.
We'll see if we have any change left over, and if we do, then there might be opportunities there. So I will be looking to see what we do with that couch change in those areas, over the next few months as we have expenditures that need to be taken care of. Thank you.
Understood.
And for those that are under the age of 20, the phrase couch change
Leftover cash app change, I guess.
There you go. All right, okay, so, Ms. Hall.
I was just thinking, Dr. Watts, in so many cases, you really tried to get down to the bone with some of the cuts that you felt you had to make. This might be an opportunity where you can have a little space to breathe and revisit some of the things that you really did not want to let go of. Okay.
Anyone else? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And the next item is 9.02. It's a general fund transfer to support the long-range facility plans. On December 18th, 2024, the board approved a resolution authorizing the assignment of $60 million from the general fund balance to the capital projects fund for designated projects. This assignment was intended to support the implementation of the district long-range facility plan. Staff now recommends that the board approve the accompanying budget transfer to formally allocate these funds into ESPLOS 5 budget. The transfer will ensure that the funding is appropriately positioned to support identified capital needs and maintain alignment with the long-range planning objectives. Thus, be it resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent that the board approve the transfer of the general fund balance in the amount of $60 million for long-range facility plan projects.
Moved and seconded. Discussion? Right. All in favor? Thank you.
Item 9.03, ESPLOS 4 audio enhancements budget transfer. This transfer is being done to support additional expenditures under RFP 25-26, multimedia classroom presentation systems and Learning Commons audiovisual. Thus, be it resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent that the board approve the budget transfer as described. Again, the amount is $4,772,000.
Moved and seconded. Discussion? Ms. Hall.
Mr. Jackson, is our goal to be sure that all schools have audio enhancement in place?
Yes, ma'am.
That's
That's
our
the
goal.
ultimate goal. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so what percentage of our schools have been completed, and how far do we still have to go?
Let me ask my operation teams.
I would estimate that we are about 35 is just my rough estimate of where we are, but everybody will have the audio enhancement emergency duress tool installed by July of 2026.
Okay, and is there a methodology to which schools come in which order, or how is that determined?
Historically, it's my understanding as the building was being renovated or reconstructed, they received that upgrade. Now, understanding the support from the board and the urgency to get everything done to meet the new Georgia law, we want to make sure that duress button is installed, so we have expedited the remainder of the installation.
So all of our new facilities, it's come with part of the
Yes, ma'am.
infrastructure already. Okay, so it's really our older facilities that have to be cuddled along.
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
And we can get you a chart we have a chart that says which ones have it, which ones are coming up, that timelines it out. We can get that to you.
I don't want to cause any extra work on the staff, but I do want to know how our audiences receive, how the school site personnel, how are they receiving this and using this technology? Is it being welcomed and actually used to its utmost effectiveness? Because I hear there's some places whereby they say Woodville Tompkins has just gone away with it. whereas other sites may not be as,
I would say it probably varies per school, and I don't have any specific evidence to substantiate how people are using it or not using it, or what their perception of it is. But I know last year we did roll out some revised training.
Okay.
We did some work around the use of the cameras, how it can be used instructionally as well as safety-wise. But I think there's a way probably for us to go back and try to capture what the perception and usage rate is. But I don't think we have that currently today.
okay, all right. Well, I applaud and thank the staff for getting this done, because I think in years to come, we're going to be very grateful that we have it, especially for safety. Instructional also, but especially for safety.
Dr. Brinkman, then Ms. Grabowski.
Yeah, I know that we have to have this done to meet the new Georgia law, but I was wondering how much of the 1.7 million that we're going to spend for both the West Chatham campuses and the STEM campus that we know we're going to be rebuilding but not built soon enough to meet the new Georgia law, how much of that technology and integration is transferable versus we're going to put it in there and it's just going to get torn down? Yeah, so I mean, you might not have that answer, but I just don't know what the structure looks like. So I would rather spend a little bit more money and save it in the long run if it's something that we can make to where it can be pulled. Yeah, whoever installs it this time can maybe install it on those other sites.
We are absolutely being cognizant of the sites that we know will be demolished or have major renovations. Just installing pieces that are portable or at a minimum meet the law's requirements if it's not something that could be transferred.
Most of our security system, technology systems are portable. When we close a school or renovate it, we do take that technology and move it to other locations so that we can use it. We have some redundancy in the panic, the arrest alarm buttons. So the audio enhancement system is not the only system that we have. We currently have the arrest alarm buttons throughout the entire district. This is a redundancy, but it gives us even more opportunity to keep our schools safe from a layer security standpoint.
Okay. Thank you. Ms. Grabowski?
I actually had the exact same question, so thanks, Dr. Brinkman.
All right. All right. Any other discussion? All in favor? Thank you very much.
Item 9.04, budget adoption, East Plus 5. On March 18th, 2025, the voters approved an extension of the Educational Special Purpose Local Option Sales Tax. To accommodate operations for this program, a new Capital Projects Fund 314 will be created to record revenues and related expenditures. In addition, a multi-year budget must be adopted, which reflects anticipated revenues and planned expenditures. To facilitate record keeping and reporting, each individual project will be designated by its own project number. Below is a summary of the revenues by funding source to include the operating transfer the board just approved, along with expenditures by category. Thus be it resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent that the board adopt the multi-year East Plus 5 budget as shown in the above tables.
Okay, David moved. Second, Ms. Grabowski. Discussion. I know there is. I'm sorry, Dr. Howard Hall?
That's going ahead. It doesn't matter.
Yes, thank you. We've had several email exchanges this week. And I'm here just to talk a little about Woodville-Tompkins, if you don't mind. Woodville-Tompkins was established in 1847. However, in 2023, they got their first ever auditorium, 176 years later. That same year, they got a brand new gym. We celebrated, did a nice ribbon cut, and even named the gym after Coach Joseph Turner. all high schools should have an auditorium and a gym. Now, there are 2 middle schools that were converted into high schools. One of those high schools received a CTAE classroom wing in 2017. However, the remainder of that school, although it operates as a high school, the facility is that of a middle school. On the other hand, there's another middle school that now has converted into a high school that has actually undergone a complete renovation and fully operates as a high school. Now, the 2 schools that I'm referring to is Woodville, Tompkins, and Allens. And to make this clear, I agree and I support every renovation that's gone on at Allens. I believe that Allens and those students deserved to have that complete renovation. And I am aware that it didn't happen overnight. It took several years. But here we are now in 2025, East Block 5, Woodville Tompkins has been awarded or allocated, shall I say, $14.8 million. And I would just outline the project of what's taking place, or what will be taking place. One is assessments and soil studies. The other, the demolition of the lower Woodville. But here's where it gets a little cloudy for me, because the language has changed several times. At one time, it was the renovation of Lower Woodville. Then it became demolish Lower Woodville. Then later, reconstruction of Lower Woodville. Then later, potential reconstruction of Lower Woodville. And then finally, pre-construction of Lower Woodville. So when I look at the term pre-construction, what are you saying? Are you saying that there's no building to be erected on that property once Lower Woodville has been demolished? And then the last piece is the comprehensive construction of athletic fields supporting infrastructure. My concern is, and my question is, what exactly are we going to do with the 14.6? We received, I did receive feedback via email, but I want to know the number one question. Could you please explain to me about this pre-construction? And does that mean that Lower Woodville will not be replaced? Because currently, Woodville Tompkins is partially operating as a high school with that wing. The remainder of the school, although it operates as a high school, is operating in a middle school facility. Now, I do know also renovations is supposed to take place as well with Upper Woodville. So I just need some clarity, because I'm not sure of what's going on with this $14.8 million, and I'm quite perturbed about it.
So
Because I believe that every school should be completely renovated. And I'm not saying anything to throw shade at Allens or be negative, because I supported them 100%. They deserve to have that school. That was Coastal Middle School. We're still in Tompkins Middle School with the name Woodville High School attached to it, Korean Technical High School.
Yes, ma'am. I'll attempt to clarify and then ask the capital projects team to jump in to provide additional explanation as needed. So the 14.8 that was put forth in East Bluffs for Woodville is for the right now, and everything is couldn't be changed, but for the demolition of the Lower Woodville campus. The Upper Woodville campus would receive a new roof, new HVAC. That was not included in the 14.8 because that was in the categories of roofing, HVAC, And then the site improvement category also would cover additional athletic improvements, potentially a practice field or a track or both. As we look at the site and continue through the design development, we can identify exactly what the site can hold. So that's the current plan, understanding that we will relocate the Building Bridges team to the new alternative high school or alternative learning center location. And then we also have some staff that are located in that lower campus site that would be potentially relocated to the administrative site at Savannah High.
What happens to the building once it's demolished? Because I was under the impression that it would be replaced with another building to expand Woodville-Tompkins.
Yes, ma'am. It is my understanding, and Mr. Botcher can clarify that we would, that 14.8 does include construction of an additional building closer to the upper campus building.
Is anybody else going to step in?
So I'll start all over again. So in our E5 budget, there's a line item for HVACs. And since Woodville-Tompkins need a new HVAC, so if you look at that Lower Woodville, it will take some time because we have to move staff and high school from there to another location. It cannot happen just automatically quickly. So in the meantime, so that Woodville-Tompkins students and staff do not suffer for HVAC needs, so that's why I separated it out, which will be between $5 to $6 million. And in HVAC line in our East Floss long-range facility plan, Phase 3, it is clearly written there. Then again, it needs a new roof, which will be another couple of $1 million, which will be also done before. And we have also applied in the capital outlay, the state funds it for HVAC already done. Design is actually complete for HVAC. It's about to go on a bid. And the next year, we'll be doing the roof too, because the Myers Middle School is needing it sooner than Woodville. So that's additional money, which is more than $14.8 million. Then I talk about the in E4, we had several high schools had football practice fields, and some of them received track. And I remember you have been reminding me that Woodville-Tompkins has a great track team. So when we were doing this football practice fields, we also looked at the remaining land around Woodville-Tompkins. And we hired Hussey Gable Civil Engineering Department, which did the others. They told us that it cannot be done at this location right now. So and Lower Woodville right now has the highest FCI score. It's like the worst building in our whole whole system. So renovating it doesn't make sense. So when we looked at the land, we said that if we demolish this building, that's where we can put the practice field as well as the track, which is needed by the Woodville-Tompkins, and that will serve the purpose. And that funding is in the site improvements in the E5. And I intend to do that sooner than as soon as we demolish the building. Now, in 14.8, since you already mentioned that it has received some TLC because of the new gym, though it's late, and a new auditorium and a new wing and some other renovations. So we intend to do more renovations in that 14.8 million. And in case more classrooms are needed, we will be able to do that in $14.8 million. And how did I reach to that? We looked at the current spending done at Godley and other projects. And since we are almost $10+ million in other buckets, therefore we feel comfortable that we will be able to do it.
So you're saying that you're going to add additional wings to Upper Woodville?
If needed be. I mean,
that's not giving me a definite answer. If needed be, I'm telling you it's needed be, because you're demolishing Lower Woodville.
So Lower Woodville is actually used by the high school and CTA staff and some of other Mr. Butler's.
It's not used by the Woodville-Tompkins students.
Yes.
Let me give you a little history.
Sure.
when Woodville Tompkins became a high school, the original plan was to use Lower Woodville as the ninth grade academy. That didn't happen because Savannah Classical, to my understanding, Savannah Classical was there for 2 years after charter school. Then after the charter school left, due to the EIC score, of course, there was no longer a school because it was Scott Junior High School. Programs were there. So nothing ever came of it. Since it's being demolished and the properties there, we're talking about the comprehensive construction of the athletic fields. My question and concern is the expansion. And you said if need be, when there's a wait list all the time, there definitely needs to be an expansion.
We'll need to check on the wait list. I'm not sure
Even
if there is a wait list for Woodville. I actually think it's not fully utilized. The current building, I do not think is fully utilized. But we will double check that. I guess to help summarize, and Mr. Botcher, please help me if I also need clarity on it. The 14.8 million, we don't really have a firm plan on how that is going to be used. We could decide that as we get closer to the design phase
That's right.
of the project. The fields will go, the HVAC will go forward, the roof will go forward, but then there is a 14.8 million, which could lead to an addition to the current facility, buildings in closer proximity to the facility, or maybe some type of rebuild where Lower Woodville is. But we haven't done enough engagement with the community and the principal to think not just about a building, but think about programming at the simultaneously. So we don't want to build something that we don't have a need for or does not fit within the vision of the future of the school. And so I think that additional feedback and community engagement will help us better define what that additional $14.8 million can be used for. Am I summarizing it?
You did great job, ma'am.
Okay.
Well, we definitely need to have a town
And I
hall
think
soon with stakeholders.
Well, I
because-
think we do need to do that. We also need to find out where Woodville falls in the priority list, because we now have criteria. We'll put all of our projects in. I don't know, we may have already done it. I don't know that to date. If it falls within the next year, you're right. Those town hall meetings need to start sooner rather than later. If it falls within 3 years, it would probably be another year before we decide. But we want to be careful about defining something when we haven't done the feedback and when we haven't really talked about the next iteration of what Woodville Tompkins can be or how to best meet its needs. So I think that might be why you are experiencing a little bit of like dancing around a concrete answer. Because if we give you a concrete answer, then that commits us to something that we haven't really gotten full feedback from the community on.
We don't have a defined answer, but it looks like to me we have a defined $14.8 million. We have a defined
Because
budget.
we had to put something there. I mean, we had to have, we know we've talked about CTAE labs. You're raising up the need to possibly renovate the current site to make it more high school oriented versus middle school oriented. So I think we have some ideas, but in terms of a concrete idea, I think we've been careful not to overcommit to something that we haven't fleshed out with the community.
We've skipped a step.
Lastly, can
So
I?
David was first.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't realize he
Oh,
was.
just lastly,
Yeah.
I
David?
just don't want this to be punted into East Block 6.
Oh, no.
Because we've gone through 5 East Blocks, shall I say. This is number 5. And what I don't want to happen is, we don't have the funding, so let's hope we can get East Block 6.
Okay, David, no. David?
So I guess I'll start with what Dr. Watts was first discussing, and just wanted, you don't have to answer right off the bat, the update on when the rubric to actually prioritize and actually make the schedule and the more hashed out budget. If we have an update on that, if not, that's fine, and it's going to come down the line. I will applaud Dr. Howard Hall on fighting for a project. The project is in E5, thus that money has to be spent on that project. That project will be defined through a process, how we have done all E5s. And we could all sit here and talk about schools that haven't gotten what they needed to get. I mean, Georgetown has been a middle school for all of the E-SPLOS and is just now in E5, the end of E4, going to have a middle school facility for those students. So, I mean, and Windsor has never had an auditorium. They've done their school plays in the cafeteria for forever. So we're always, and I love that about the district, always fighting to get to that next step. It's just we can't snap our fingers and make it all happen immediately and rectify everything that we think needs to occur at every single site. I love that we work together to figure out this list. And I feel like in the 2 iterations that I've gone through, it has been a very amenable process between all the board members and with district staff. And projects have changed and more money has moved. And this could very well be a project that once assessments are done, more money needs to be moved. And other projects do get pushed. That has occurred. Just like it's occurred with STEM. We were going to do a renovation there, and then it was going to be a waste of money to renovate that building because we were going to get so close to a new build on the renovation. So I believe that the district is doing what's best for everyone by saying we're not going to say exactly what it is, because then we have to do exactly what we say. I mean, if we came out with our E5 list and said that West Chatham K-8 was going to have this many classrooms and this many this and this many that's, then the community would hold us to that, versus what does it look like when we go to have the architect design something and put it out for bid, and what are the needs of the community. And those needs might change in year 1 of E5 or year 2 of E5 for Woodville. So the money's there. Or year 2 of E5 for Woodville. So the money's there. We have to remember as a board that it was put there. And when it comes time to do the project and we see it on the prioritization list, we make sure that it is not just a Band-Aid, but it's actually something that's going to meet the needs of the students, staff, and faculty there. So while this is a nice list, we know probably from our past that everything doesn't get done. So we will have to make those hard decisions down the road, but I believe in the intentions of our programming and of our operations staff on making sure that projects are done. And it's nice to know that now we are going to have an objective process to score that. And then I'm sure as board members, once that comes out, we'll still have some discussion about it too, because we see things differently as the ears in the community, that the district staff is going to be looking at it just from more of what I would consider a nuts and bolts, and not, this is what the community's saying. I believe that's a correct narrative, and that should change this. So I think that will be I look forward to that discussion. It might not be the easiest, but I think it will be a healthy discussion on how we look at things, and then having operations remind us that we can't start every project all at once, which we would all love to do as well. So thank you.
You'll get the priority listing and the CIC meeting in August, so you'll know the order of the projects in August.
Dr. Hoskins-Brown.
This was done wrong. This was done wrong. You shouldn't be coming to a board meeting not knowing what a project is funded to do in your district. I saw 2 emails come through. I don't know what other emails came through. I understand that the E5 list is fluid. All of the E-SPLOS lists have been fluid. But the most major problem that I have with this is that we just heard 2 people say, well, we don't really know. The 14.8 is going to be something, but we have to do further exploration. We have to look at this. We have to look at that. And Dr. Howard Hall shouldn't be coming to a meeting and just finding out that we really don't have that worked out. And the first answer is not going to the community and doing a survey. The first answer should have been during E5, when you populated the list of what the project was going to be, to talk with the board members. I mean, I assume that that had occurred for the projects. I assume that all the projects in the different part of the district was informed at least by the feedback that board members had from communities, that there had been some communication, because there's communication about what district needs on other things. So, yeah, it does make sense that it's not completely lined up exactly what that 14.8 is going to be. But what I heard here is you don't really know, and if you don't know now, that means you just kind of created a number when the East Block list was put together, and that's problematic. 14.8 should have added up from some ideas, even if it's wrong, because when we have done projects in the past, we've had some schools that were way over what they were allotted in East Block, and they had to be augmented. Beach was one of them. So if 14.8 was a cumulative number from a list of ideas, that's what should have been said today when leadership came to the microphone.
Thank you for that feedback, and it is valid and well taken. Maybe I mischaracterized it. In the E5 list, we described it as CTAE programmatic expansion.
Okay.
And that's how we characterized it without going into detail about what that. So it's not just a random number pulled out of the sky. We know we want to do something around CTAE programming. That's the part that is yet to be defined.
Okay, so that's helpful. That is a process where your board members are your partners to help develop and sell the concept to the community. And we should, I think we hear the frustration and we hear the history. I'm a big fan of history. We hear that and we understand that, but it's the lack of information that Dr. Howard Hall has that is concerning to me at this point, because we passed a referendum on this. This is not the beginning of this process. So that lack of communication is problematic for me. And the reaction of some of our board members to her asking the questions, the impatience of her asking the questions, is not collegial either. So I think we can improve that. Yeah, like turning and throwing our head down and rolling our eyes and other things that show disagreement. I don't think that's the best way to communicate how we're receiving this. But I think because we're having the conversation early, and because we are aware that there are multiple options available for what changes can happen there, and because we know we want to hear from the community, we have the greatest possibility of not getting into E5, getting to the end of E5 and having no action. It's possibility of not getting into E5, getting to the end of E5 and having no action, which is what she's expressed as a concern. I think we have a very strong chance of avoiding that. Thank you.
Ms. Hall.
I've always seen these East Block referendums as moral documents, just as I see our budget as one. I've always been thrilled that we had a populace here in Chatham County smart enough to understand the value of having East Block and what it does for us and how it helps us in terms of using our general funds for more instructional pursuits. I think, therefore, that we do owe you a kind of a moral commitment that we're going to see this through. Because Woodville-Tompkins, I go around the country and rave 100% graduation rate, this, culinary perfection, all of that. So yeah, I'm willing to put my efforts where my mouth is, and I'm wondering if is there anything at the school now that could be improved while we're on this long path that would help kids to know they're at a high school as opposed to a middle school? I mean, like furniture and that kind of thing. Do we have high school furniture throughout Woodville-Tompkins High? We do have that, so we have those comforts.
My own child went to Woodville.
Okay,
Yes.
so we have that. But I also like we have a very smart capital projects team. I like when they assign a project manager, because what that does, that makes you have attention. Oh, somebody's paying attention because that's their project. So when we hear who the project manager of the Woodville-Tompkins team is, then we'll know we're on our way, because like I said, we have, and I know he's going to get me, but Kevin Ralston. When I heard he's going to be helping us at Johnson High, I was thrilled, because I know about his attention that he puts on his project. So, Dr. Watts, we're a team, and we want every district to succeed. And I do think we owe Dr. Howard Hall the assurance that we're going to see that community is made whole with that school.
There have been several emails back and forth on this, and part of my displeasure is that some of the things that you asked for, Dr. Hoskins-Brown, were answered in those emails. Some of those figures were provided in those emails. How much certain things cost. So to say that we had no idea of what was in that 14.8 is false. Okay, that was my frustration. My other frustration is this. We started talking about E5 projects last year. We had a whole East Plus campaign. We had several board members. We had CIC meetings. We had board meetings. And for us to come up with this project list, because we had to have the project list to do E5, and then get to today, when we had already done all of that work, when we had already presented to the public what was on the list, to come to today and go, oh, wait a minute, we're gonna change. No. The public, it was our duty as board members representing all of our districts. Any problems that we had with that list, we had a year to talk about. Now, as far as, there are so many schools that if we were going to go, well, every school deserves this. Well, Woodville-Tompkins is a choice school. When you send your child to a choice school, there's certain things that you may not get. It may not be a robust athletic program. That's just part of it. Savannah Arts has got a great track team. They don't have a track. They have a great soccer team. They don't have a field. Plenty of our schools have they've learned to do with what they have. We have limited resources. I love that Dr. Howard Hall is passionate about our district. Every one of you guys is passionate about your district. But when we did E5, when we started E5, when we started on that project, that was the time for all of this. We got to get started on these projects. That's why we're taking this vote today. Do I want to address all of the things? Absolutely. Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. But we have to understand we're a big district, and we're not always going to get everything we want. But we're going to get what we need, and we are going to address some things. And one thing that was implied in one of the emails that really got my goat, this is not an equity issue. And don't ever use that word. It is an insult to our staff to call them up on an equity issue. It is not an equity issue. our staff did not have any of that in mind when they made these. This staff works so hard. They work so hard. So, anyone else?
Had to even ask those questions. So this is kind of going a little too far, but nobody gets to sit here and tell me what I can and cannot ask and what I can and cannot say. Whether it's disparity or equity or whatever you want to say, I said it and I'll say it again. It's my prerogative and not yours. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Dr. Howard Hall. I mean, Dr. Howard, Dr. Hoskins Brown.
Yeah, so I'm calling for the question.
Yes. Yes, all in favor of calling the question? All right, all right. So, all in favor of approving this budget? Thank you very much.
Item 9.05, in response to bid C-25-12, Island High School Athletic Fields Expansion in Fund 308. The purchasing department received 7 bids in response to bid C-25-12. Staff recommends that the bid be awarded to the lowest responsive and responsible bidder, which was determined to be Dabbs Williams General Contractors, LLC, at a total cost of $4,524,000. Thus be it resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent that the board approve the contract with Dabbs Williams General Contractors, LLC, for the Islands High School Athletic Field expansion at a total cost of $4,524,000.
Ms. Grabowski moves. Dr. Hoskins Brown seconds.
I had a separate motion.
Oh,
I do not second, I had a different motion.
okay. Ms.
You recognize Mr.
Ms. Grabowski moves. Dr. Bringman seconds. Ms. Grabowski, any comments? Dr. Bringman? Dr. Hoskins Brown.
I'd like to amend the motion to combine item 9.04 and 9.05 and 9.06 to approve them as one motion.
Any questions? No, all right. All in favor of combining the motion? Of the amendment? All right. Okay.
You should read.
Just read it, yes.
For 9.05, thus be it resolved upon the recommendation that the board approve the contract with Dabbs Williams General Contractors, LLC, for Islands High School Athletic Field expansion at a total cost of $4,524,000. Item 9.06, thus be it resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent that the board approve the contract with Mock Plumbing and Mechanical Incorporated for the Islands High School HVAC replacement at a total cost of $10,795,250. And be it further resolved that the board approve the budget transfer for the HVAC replacement, multiple locations account to the Islands High School HVAC account as described above.
Okay. Okay. We are, yes, yes. So, all in favor of, any question on the amended? Okay, all in favor of?
I think there has to be a motion to approve the amended motion, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yes, that's the motion he's soliciting.
Yes, okay. Moved in second. Any question, any discussion? All right. No discussion. All in favor? All right.
I believe this takes us to item 9.07. This is a supply agreement between Genuine Parts Company doing business as Napa Auto Parts and the Savannah-Chatham County Public School System. Thus be it resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent that the board approve the use of Sourcewell Master Agreement 11520-GPC off of the State of Georgia statewide contract to purchase goods and services from Genuine Parts Company doing business as Napa Auto Parts for fiscal year 2026 with an estimated total spend of $1 million.
Been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Yes. Dr. House. Sorry? Okay.
Yeah. It states in this that 2 positions will be eliminated in the department. Are those positions that haven't been filled, or are there names attached to those positions?
There are names attached to those positions. One of those individuals is interested in another position, and then one of those individuals, if not interested in another position, we would work with NAPA to ensure that they would interview that individual.
Thank you.
Dr. Hassan-Brown.
My question is about the savings. I mean, I understand logistically how this is helpful for us and allow us to take advantage of a state contract. Is our savings in administrative time of like having what we need on site, or is it also in contract price on the part too? Like, where's our big win in this? Is it both or one or the other more than the other?
It is both. So this
Okay.
would allow us to have easy access to those parts efficiently. And it is a model that is in Cobb, Paulding, Forsyth, and several other districts around the state.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? I'll call the vote. All in favor? All opposed? Okay. Continue.
Item 9.08, RFP 24-57, swimming pool maintenance services. This is the first renewal for the contract. Staff recommends exercising the first one-year renewal of the contract with Aquatic Management Incorporated for the contract period August 1st, 2025 through July 31st, 2026. The total cost is estimated at $778,340. Thus, be it resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent that the board approve the award of the first renewal of RFP 24-57 swimming pool maintenance services annual contract as described for an estimated annual expenditure of $778,340.
Have someone to, I'm sorry, moved and seconded. Discussion? Sure, Dr. Brigham.
So we got to do this year to keep the pools maintained so that we can work on the intergovernment agreement with the city.
We have a short-term agreement with the city that I think is going before city council this week, tomorrow. But this is for the year-long contract to maintain Jenkins, since we've renovated it, and to continue to work with the city to determine how and who will operate the other 2 pools. Once they get operational, it's to take care of the maintenance for those 2 pools as well. That makes sense.
Oh, it makes sense. I would just like to work towards us making sure the pools are operational and then getting them into the cities.
Yes.
And us not maintaining them.
Well, in order for us not to maintain them, we would probably have to sell them, and I don't think that decision has been made yet. Right now, the city has agreed to operate the pools for us, but not maintain the pools. We still are responsible for the maintenance of the pools because they're our property.
So what we're working, okay, so I am lost then and was unaware, and this is my own incompetence for not asking deeper questions. I was under the assumption, which we all know what that makes me, that these pools were no longer going to be any part of our budgetary process after we got them back up to a swimmable, usable level, and that we were working judiciously to make sure that they were the cities as soon as possible. And when I thought we were working towards that, I thought that was the whole kit and caboodle. Like, the only thing is that they would be adjacent to our buildings and maybe have a plaque saying the history of them, but that we would have no more ties. But right now, I'm coming to the realization that we're going to ask the city to operate them, and we're going to pay over $750,000 every year to maintain them.
No,
for
sir. No, sir. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Let me jump in.
Okay, please jump. Yes, I'm in the deep end.
Sorry. We'll rescue you. So the largest portion
Throw me
of
the
this
buoy.
of this expense is for the restoration of the Brock and Haven pools.
I mean, by a little bit. By a little bit, yes.
By a little bit. So, and then once we, and Madam Superintendent was absolutely correct, we are in conversations with the city until we can come to an agreement to do a property transfer or a sale. Then we would, as part of our partnership in this, pay for the maintenance, and they would operate the pool. But hopefully, we will come to a resolution soon to have a property transfer or our sale. We're just trying to move forward with the current piece of operating Jenkins, restoration of Haven, Brock, and then having this in place if we cannot come to a partnership.
Good point.
Thank you, Ms. Davis. I'm a ping pong back then. Fully get the $400,000 and the pool covers to get everything nice. But if we are working towards getting them to city ownership, usership, whatever it looks like, that would take this recurring maintenance off of our budget, is this going to be prorated when that happens, or are we paying for the whole year and then the city gets us to pay for their, yeah, so I would kick the can on the maintenance contract or have it bi-monthly for that $313,000, because if they become the city's, if the city agrees, which I hope they do, they're getting a lot from us.
Well, you all would have to agree too, it's not just the city.
To allow the city to have the pools, is, yeah.
To do a property
Yes,
transfer.
yes, and I don't know where those votes lie. But it seems odd to pay for a year of maintenance when we think we're about to make a transfer in the next 2 months.
And we've been very clear with the vendor, and I'll ask Mr. May to confirm that we have it right in the contract, that we don't pay up front. We pay for after services are rendered. We don't pay for maintenance on the pools that have not been restored, right? So it is after services are rendered. If the transfer happens, then we should not be paying for maintenance.
Okay, as long as that, thank you, that sounds great. We're all on the same, so as long as the contract reads that if it changed ownership, we're not paying anymore. Good, thank you.
Dr. Hoskins-Brown.
Thank you. It just seems the difference between, I mean, what we approved in the consent agenda was an agreement that we hope the city will sign that is focused only on the Jenkins pool. And if we think that they're going to be signing that this week, why do we need to vote on this month when if we had it on the agenda next month, we would already know that and we wouldn't be committing to this contract for Jenkins?
The agreement that you all voted on in consent agenda was just for short term from now until the end of September, just to get the Jenkins pool open so that people can take advantage of it this summer. It's not the long-term agreement.
Okay, so there's another agreement
Coming
Yes, another
that we will have the answers to some of these questions that you all asked.
So what agreement are they voting on this week? The longer
The
agreement?
short term.
So they're going to vote on we voted on this today. They're voting on this in their next meeting tomorrow.
The short term tomorrow.
The short term tomorrow.
And then we'll bring the longer term plan hopefully next month or in a subsequent month.
One point of clarity on the MOU, it did go back and forth with some iterations, and the last iteration does have an extended period for that short-term MOU, so it can be somewhat confusing to say, is it really short-term when it's sitting there for 3 years? But the purpose of that agreement is to get kids in the pool
This
at
summer.
Jenkins over the next 2 months. We'll work out the details in August when the school is there. They were not willing to pay for the maintenance over that 2-month period, but they were willing to assist with operations and make it operational and provide the services. So we decided, eyes wide open, let's do that. Let's try to get that piece in place. Some of that language is confusing because it could make it look broader, but whatever gets negotiated further is going to take into consideration maintenance costs and not just operations if it's something that we still have. But that will be an ongoing negotiation. But we did not want to keep kids out of that pool that is ready to go for what's left of the summer if we could. So that's why you have that agreement before you and what it says.
Thank you. That's helpful. I don't have the same concerns about this that Dr. Brinkman does, but the time component did seem distracting. So thank you. I'm clear on it, and I'm supportive of this action.
All right. Any other questions? Yes, Ms. Krupowski.
So for Haven and Brock, because there is that capital expense for the improvement, I mean, do we anticipate actually making those improvements before we have negotiated the more long-term agreement with the city? Because it seems like we would want to have higher level of assurance that we've reached an agreement with the city.
I thought the commitment was that we would bring the pools up to an operational state.
Okay.
I thought that was, the board's commitment, that we would bring them up to an operational state. And then the second part of that was, and then who takes it over after that?
Okay. I'll defer to your
Because
memory.
we use fund balance, right, to bring it to
Yes, I know it was in
operations.
fund balance,
Mhm.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
then the ongoing maintenance would be decided once we come to a long-term plan with the city around who would actually have ownership of the property.
Okay. And I know we had also discussed evaluating if there's any potential CTA programming.
Potentially.
That could complement the
Yes.
the use of the
But
pools
again, that
by the
goes back
students.
to, is it going to be a city property or our property? And
Yeah.
Meanwhile, the kids are in the pool.
Yeah, I mean, I am thrilled to death that we got Jenkins up and going and thank you to the team, because to have that pool just sitting there ready to go and not in use when it's 100 and gazillion degrees outside is sad.
Yeah, it
So
is.
thank you for the work on that. Okay, well,
All right, let's call the question. All in favor? Continue.
All right. The last item, 9.09, this is another one-year renewal for our annual contract for HVAC repair, replacement, installation, and preventive maintenance services. Staff recommends exercising the first one-year renewal of the contract with the awarded vendors, and there are 4 vendors that are included, listed above, for the contract period of August 1st, 2025 through July 31st, 2026. The total estimated annual expenditure is $2.3 million. Thus be it resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent that the board approve the award of the first renewal of RFP 24-62 HVAC repair, replacement, installation, and preventive maintenance services annual contract as indicated above. The estimated annual expenditure is $2,300,000.
I have a motion. Second? It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor? Thank you, Mr. Jackson. Okay. Now for appearances. Each person that comes before us is allowed 3 minutes. We thank you for being here today. This is part of what we do, is listening to you. So first we have Angelisa Bryant.
Good afternoon. To all board members, good afternoon again, and Dr. Watts. This is my spouse, Dr. Vernon T. Bryant. We have a child that goes to Coastal Middle School. Protocol was followed to address all concerns today through the proper chain of command process. Attached, you all will see my child's scores for the 7th grade GMAS. The state wants all grade level students to be above 60%. Our school system, local, is at 47% in all grade levels. The Data Assessment Department Director stated in April that the reason for the low performance is because we are in an urban area. My child goes to a non-urban area school. She makes A's and B's. On April 29th, my child was scheduled to take Math 2 on the GMAS. I received an email from the administrator that she could take Math 1 on May 8th through May 10th, your makeup days. As you can see, she failed. The administrator of the school emailed, shared that they gave all students 1 hour break. All students were checked on, that nothing was done wrong. I was also told we don't have to tell the public that we roll up the students, and again, did nothing wrong. I asked you, why did the administrator email me and stated there was miscommunication by the staff and apologized in email? And he also stated that he did not know that the schedule was changed. I asked, can I appeal? Silence, no response, all the way to the all leaders in this Savannah-Chatham County school system. The state has high expectation. The question to you, are we really truly teaching and preparing all students to be prepared to be higher achieve proficiency level and distinguished learners? We need change. We need someone to open the door, to have quarterly meetings with all district voters and parents to discuss the success of all students. The state is taking over our schools. We need to dig deeper to find out how to prepare all students for success on Gmail and the future. I come here, and when I come, my child was retaliated. She was retaliated, and I come to you again to ask to help. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Dr. Bryant, since you're up there.
Do you want to say something? Do you want to say
I just would say ditto to what my wife has said. I fully support what she's just said and what you have before you. I would just add that I'm a product, I'm a Savannian, native Savannian, a product of the local public school system, came through the ranks, and I stand here in support of my child.
All right. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. All right. Steve?
Good afternoon, board. Dr. Watts. I haven't been in Savannah, so I'm a product of the Savannah-Chatham. I graduated from the original Savannah High School on 500 Washington Avenue. I'm so happy to be here with y'all today. Hi, my name is Seve Adigun. I'm with Team Drive Safe. Team Drive Safe is a risk management partner for passenger transportation companies. We recently identified public school districts as a major component of what we want to do. We understand that school bus driving is one of the absolute hardest jobs in the world, one of the most high-stress jobs in the world. There aren't a lot of metrics to identify the correlation between driver stress and costs that school districts go through. The last 4 years, my company has spent lots of time trying to correlate or trying to put these, create these numbers. What we've come up with is a program called Drivertude. Drivertude is the first ever program to help assist with school bus driver mental and emotional acuity. We believe that there's a direct correlation between the high turnover and low retention rate, as well as the high costs school bus transportation companies, school bus transportation deals with. We've created a comprehensive data-driven program that we believe is going to help change the game. And we would love to work with Dr. Watts, Ms. Mills, to speak with you further about how we can implement Drivertude here in the Savannah-Chatham County school system. We are in the beta stages. Our numbers so far point to we are definitely moving in the right direction. We had a chance to speak with Mr. Ken Johnson from the state a few weeks ago, who signed off on, hey man, definitely go out and once you speak with some of these school districts around the state and see if we can get Drivertude implemented to help, again, assist drivers proactively so that we're not dealing with incidents reactively.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you. I look forward to speaking to you.
Thank you. All right, and Vernon Baxter? Is that it? Okay. All right, did we have anyone else sign up? No. No. Okay, wonderful. All right, I will accept a motion to adjourn. Been moved. Someone's going to second it. It's moved and seconded. Any discussion? No. All in favor? Thank you all. Have a great day.